Nintendo Switch has now been out for a month and it's got off to a good start. But how can Nintendo carry on that momentum? I guess you got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, you got ARMS hopefully coming out before E3, and then you got Splatoon 2, and you got Fire Emblem Warriors, yeah, and you got Super Mario Odyssey at the end of the year. Hopefully Xenoblade Chronicles 2 will still come out in 2017, but those games will hopefully carry on that momentum. But I know a lot of people out there aren't really too happy with the year one lineup. I don't know why, just because I'm looking forward to games like ARMS. You got Splatoon 2 as well, which I'm really looking forward to, especially after the global test file, and of course Super Mario Odyssey. But I know a lot of people see the Switch as a platform which doesn't have that many interesting games at this moment in time. So I think for those people, E3 2017 is going to be huge. And I think E3 this year is going to be massive for the Switch, because it will answer two questions in terms of first party support. Will Nintendo, can Nintendo carry on the steady stream of first party games that they are releasing at the moment in the first few months of the Switch? E3 2017 will be a good sticking point in terms of, will Nintendo be able to carry that on with titles leading into 2018? We know of Fire Emblem at this moment in time, but what else will be coming out for the Switch longer term? I guess E3 will be a good starting point for us to answer that question, and it will be a good way for us to see, can Nintendo release games on a consistent basis long term, and that is going to be key for the Switch's long term success, and it will be key for the Switch to carry on this momentum past year one, because they cannot go back to the Wii U where we had months and months where we didn't have games coming out for the system. That killed the Wii U's momentum, where we had games like Splatoon, and then we had to wait a few months later for the next big game to come out. So that cannot happen with the Switch, and E3 will be a good sticking point, to see whether Nintendo can carry on that steady stream of games long term. Also, it will be a good way for us to see what the third party situation will be like for the Switch. Will the Switch be getting many of the AAA games that will be coming out on other platforms? Maybe this first E3 in the Switch's lifespan, maybe that is too early for games coming out for the Switch. Maybe games that will be announced at E3, maybe those games will be already in development for years and years before the Switch was even a thought for these developers. So maybe next year's E3, maybe that will be a better way for us to see what the third party situation will be like. But who knows, maybe, I guess you could say, yeah, maybe this E3 will be a good way for us to look at the third party support for the Switch. And if we don't get games like Call of Duty, I think Call of Duty we probably will know before that. Having said that, actually, for Nintendo platforms, Call of Duty games always get announced later on than the other platforms. But for other AAA games that are coming out on the other platforms later this year, hopefully we will get some of those games get announced at E3 for the Switch as well. But like I said, maybe it is too early for those sort of announcements, just because those games were probably in development years before the Switch was even talked about by Nintendo, or even shown off by Nintendo, I should say, to these companies. So maybe these companies are only just starting to think about making games or porting their AAA games for maybe November 2018. Maybe those developers are only now starting to think about porting 2018 games for the Switch. So maybe this year's E3 may be a little bit too soon to judge the third party support, but maybe it will give us our first look to see what the third party situation will be like on the platform. So that is why I think E3 2017 will be massive for the Switch in terms of first party support and third party support, and it will be huge in terms of, can Nintendo carry on this momentum? I think they can, just because you got Splatoon 2, you got ARMS, you got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe before E3. Obviously, you got Super Mario Odyssey at the end of the year. So I think they can carry on that momentum. But like I said, can Nintendo release Switch games on a consistent basis long term, and E3 2017 will be a good way to answer that question. So you are actually going to see me talk about E3 quite a lot this month, just because my next door neighbours, they're having an extension. So recording it now, I'm going to record that sort of stuff now, because I'm sure there's going to be a load of background noise later on. So I probably will come out with my E3 predictions soon, actually. So leave me your thoughts in the comments. That's it for this video, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.